All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this Athenian Stranger tutorial video, where today we're going to learn about the additive and multiplicative inverses, including the reciprocal. So let's go ahead and give our notes today a title. ADD, additive, I-T-I-V-E, additive and multiplicative inverses, M-U-L-T-I-P, L-I-C, multiplicative, A-T-I-V-E, inverses. And we're going to say here, including, that's what INCL period means, including the reciprocal multiplicative inverse, additive inverse. Let's start with the additive inverse, okay? The additive inverse, A-D-D-I-T-I-V-E, inverse, I-N-V-E-R-S-E. This is one that I think most folks are going to be familiar with already. And I'll just start with a quick example. What is 4 plus negative 4? You tell me. 0. So let's take note. We have something, a 4, and we have its opposite, a negative 4. Let's do another example. How about 19 minus 19? Yeah. Couldn't I write that as 19 plus negative 19? Yeah. 0. Again, you've got the thing, 19, and you've got the negative of the thing. And when you smash those together, you get 0. So what is the rule here? Can you tell me the rule? Take a shot at it. Like if I give another example, what would be the rule for this one? What do you think this is going to be? 0. Good. What's the rule? Thank you. I'm adding a negative to a positive, and the thing is the same, right? So the core is the same. So here's the rule. First, let's write this is 0. Here's the rule. Good. Additive inverses always sum to 0. This is an important rule, but it's one that you probably already knew. I mean, you maybe didn't know it was a rule, but you knew it. So what is the additive inverse of 10x? Negative 10x. What is the additive inverse of 30 over 15? Oh, this is, be careful here. Can you simplify that fraction? All right. Tell me what the additive inverse of that is. Negative 2? Well, hold on. So maybe. Let's see if he's right. So we can divide the top and the bottom by 15, which would be the greatest common factor of 30 and 15. We get 2 over 1, which is just 2. And then we take its negative, and we get negative 2. Excellent job. Excellent job. Please raise your hand if you feel like you understand this. Additive inverses add to 0 or sum to 0. Okay. That was the easy one. Or the one that you already knew. Here comes the one that we're going to learn. The multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse, aka reciprocal. What does aka mean? Also known as. Okay, so let's start by writing this. Flip 1 over 5 to find its reciprocal. What does it say? What is 1 over 5 flipped? 5 over 1. And can we simplify that? What? Just 5. So the multiplicative inverse, which I'll write as mult-inv, like that. The multiplicative inverse of 1 over 5 is just 5. Okay. Now we're going to make a note called notation. This can be confusing. The way that I ask you for a multiplicative inverse is to write 1 over 5, but put it in parentheses, and then put a negative 1 out here in the exponent section. So what this is asking for, what this is asking for, it's saying flip 1/5. Okay, you can read that as flip 1/5. So if I ask you this question, you would say 5. Okay. This is one of those things that you get only after you see it for a while. So let's try. I'd like to know the multiplicative inverse of -7. So I'm going to help with this one. The first thing you do is you rewrite as -7 over 1. Earlier today, someone said, should we always rewrite whole numbers as fractions? Yes. Now, does that help you do it? Just flip the fraction. -7 over 1 flipped is -1 over 7. So Notice that that negative sign gets preserved. I'm just flipping the fraction. There is such a thing as the negative reciprocal, but that's not what I'm doing now. What I'm doing now is I'm just flipping the fraction. Let's do this one. I want to know the reciprocal of 2x. You should be able to say it pretty quickly. Flip it. So we start by rewriting as 2x over 1 raised to the negative 1 power. And then we just flip that. 1 over 2x. So guys, let's keep in mind, I know there's a lot being thrown at you. This green thing is equal to this green thing over here. So 2x raised to the power of negative 1 is equal to 1 over 2x. Let me write that another way. 2 raised to the power of negative 1 is equal to 1 over 2. Five raised to the power of negative 1 is equal to 1 over 5. 3 over 7 raised to the power of negative 1 is equal to 7 over 3. Are you starting to catch this? It's really, don't overthink this. Just make it into a fraction and flip it. You ever played that game? Bop it. Twist it. Smash it. Okay? Flip it. Earlier today, I had a student say, just flip it. And I thought that was pretty good. Just flip it. So here comes a rule. And I'm going to ask this as a question. What happens if we multiply a number or letter by its reciprocal? Remember, when I say reciprocal, I mean multiplicative inverse. When I say multiplicative inverse, I mean reciprocal. So what happens if we multiply a number or letter by its reciprocal? Let's try figuring out the reciprocal of 1/2. Well, that's 2 over 1. Okay? So what happens if I multiply 1/2 times the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1? What does this equal? Multiply across the top and across the bottom. What's 1 times 2? What's 1 times 2? What's 2 times 1? What is 2 over 2 reduced to? Try again. What is 2 over 2 reduced to? 1. So what you really do is you reduce to 1 over 1, but we don't write that. We just write 1. Let's do another one. What is the reciprocal of 5? 1 over 5. Okay, remember the steps were write it as a fraction, and then you can flip it, So what happens if we multiply 5 over 1 times 1 over 5? Multiply across the top and across the bottom. 5 over 5. What does that reduce to? So what's the rule here? Should always equal 1? Correct. So here's the rule. Ready? Write this down. The product means multiply. The product of a number and its inverse or reciprocal is 1. Okay? The product of a number and its reciprocal is 1. So 5 over 1 times 1 over 5 is 1. 1 over 3 times 3 over 1 is 3 over 3, which reduces to 1. This is extremely useful. What if I have a problem like this? Let me close with this example. What if I have a problem like this? 9 equals 1/3 x. The way you get rid of this 1/3 on the right side is you multiply by the reciprocal of 1/3 on both sides. What is the reciprocal of 1/3? So multiply by 3 over 1 on both sides. On the right side, these cancel out, and I've just got x. And on the left side, I just multiply 3 times 9. So what is x? 27. Okay, guys. Great job today. There's not a homework assignment associated with these notes today. Remember to watch the video over yesterday's assignment and get that done so we can pick it up at the beginning of class. But as always with these videos, I hope you learned something. Thank you so much.